Hi guys, you're welcome back to today's tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be sharing with you how to draft, cut and sew an off-shoulder bustier dress with straps and balloon sleeve. It is very simple, detailed and beginner friendly. So if you're interested, please watch this video till the end. And if this is your first time on this channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share and also drop a comment. I'm going to be drafting the front block of the dress first before I go ahead to draft the back. So the first thing I went ahead to do was to draw a straight horizontal line which is going to be serving as the top line. Next, I'll go ahead to insert my vertical measurement. But before inserting your vertical measurement, the first thing to do is to determine how off you want the off-shoulder dress to be. So for a moderate off-shoulder dress, 5 to 6 inch is okay. This is going to make the dress sit properly without revealing any cleavage. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be coming down by 5.5 inch and I'll go ahead to insert that 5.5 inch on my top line like this, and I'll go ahead to insert the other vertical measurement. So I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder to bust point, which is 10.5 inch. I'll mark that. Next, I'll insert my shoulder to under bust, which is 14 inch, after which I will insert the shoulder to waist, which is 8 inch. After marking this point, I'll go ahead to draw straight horizontal lines at the points I just marked like you see me doing in the video. Next, I'll go ahead to tighten the under bust, and in doing that, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to insert half of my bust band measurement on the bust point line, on the under bust line and also on the waistline. So my bust band measurement is 7.5 divided by 2 is 3.75. I'll go ahead to mark it all the way down to the waist, after which I'll draw a straight vertical line like this. For the underbust tightening, I'm going to be using 2 inch for that. So I'll mark 1 inch on both sides of my waistline and 1 inch on both sides of my underbust line. After which I'll connect the underbust to the waistline with a straight line. Next, I'll go ahead to draw the underbust curve, and in doing that, I'll be coming down by 1 inch from the bust point and mark. After marking that, I'll connect that point to the underbust using the curved part of my ruler like this. After drawing the underbust curve, the next thing to do is to insert the neck width for the off-shoulder dress we are making. And to do that, we'll be doing some calculation that will help us to insert the proper neck width that will make the dress sit properly when it is being worn. So to calculate that, the formula I always use is the nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 plus 1.5. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 7.5 divided by 2 plus 1.5. That is equal to 3.75 plus 1.5. So when you add this up, you're going to be getting 5.25. So I'm going to be using this 5.25 as the neck width for the off-shoulder dress I'm going to be making. This formula will make the dress sit properly when the dress is being worn. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert the 5.25 on the top line like this, and I'll go ahead to mark that. After marking that, the next thing I'll do is to insert the armhole depth. To insert your armhole depth line, what you go ahead to do is to place your tape rule at the 5.5 inch you came down by. So if you came down by 6 inch, you place your tape rule on your top line by 6 inch. Then you go ahead to insert your armhole depth. So this point here is 5.5 and my armhole depth is 8 inch. I'll go ahead to insert the 8 inch at this point like this and mark. After marking that, I'll go ahead to draw the armhole depth line with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So I'll go ahead to label this part as the chest line. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to tighten the overbust of the off-shoulder dress we are making. And in doing that, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to extend my nipple to nipple line upward like this. After doing that, I'll go ahead to take a dart of 0.75 inch on both sides like this, after which I'll connect it back to the bust point with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So after tightening the overbust, the next thing to do is to replace the 1.5 inch you took out for the dart on the side like this, because if you should leave it this way, you'll be having some shortage. So I'll go ahead to measure 1.5 inch outward like this. So this is going to be our new armhole depth line, and this line is no longer relevant. The next thing I'll go ahead to do now is to insert my body circumference measurement. So on the chest line, I'll insert my bust measurement divided by 4. So my bust measurement is 36 divided by 4 is 9 inch. I'll go ahead to mark the 9 inch on the chest line like this. After marking that, I'll go ahead to measure what I have on that area and replace that on the side also. So next I'll move over to the waistline. On the waistline, I'll go ahead to insert my waist measurement divided by 4. So the waist measurement I'm working with is 30 inch divided by 4 is 7.5. I'll go ahead to mark the 7.5 at this point. After which I'll go ahead to measure what I have on this that area, which is 2 inch, and I'll replace that on the side also. Next, I'll go ahead to connect the sides together with my ruler like this. After which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole for the off shoulder dress I'm making. So next I'll go ahead to take out the bust dart, and the bust dart is the difference between the shoulder to waist for the front and that of the back. So for this tutorial I'm going to be working with 1.5 inch. So I'll come down from the bust point line and mark the 1.5 inch, after which I'll connect it back to my nipple to nipple line like you see me doing in the video. After taking out the bust dart, I'll go ahead to mark my seam allowance of 1.5 inch like this, after which I'll connect the sides together with a straight line. So basically this is what the front block of the off shoulder dress is going to look like. So if you want a sweetheart neckline, all you need to do is to come down from the top line by 1 inch and mark. After marking, you go ahead to connect it to the first dart leg. But for this tutorial I want the neckline to be straight because that is what the style we are trying to illustrate look like. But if you want to alter the neck, you can simply go ahead to draw whatever design you want on the neckline of your blouse. So the next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to cut it out, after which we move over to the back block of the dress. So before cutting it out, the first thing I'll go ahead to do is to close up the bust dart, after which I'll go ahead to cut out my pattern like you see me doing in the video. After cutting, this is what the front block is going to look like. Next, I'll go ahead to draft the back block of the dress. For the back block, the first thing I'm going to go ahead to do is to mark out my zipper allowance. So I'll go ahead to mark 1.5 inch all the way down on the center back like this, after which I'll connect the point together with a straight vertical line. Next, I'll go ahead to insert my vertical measurement. So I'll place my tape rule starting from 5.5 inch. Then I'll go ahead to insert my shoulder to waist measurement. So if you came down by 6 inch, you place your tape rule starting from 6 inch, then insert your shoulder to waist for your back. I'll go ahead to mark that. After marking that, I'll go ahead to draw a straight horizontal line at the point I just marked with my ruler like this. So next I'll go ahead to insert the neck width. So for the front I use 5.25. I'm going to go ahead to mark the same 5.25 for the back also. After marking that, from this point I'll go ahead to insert my armhole depth line. So I'll place my tape rule starting from 5.5 inch, after which I'll insert my armhole depth, which is 8 inch. So if you came down by 6 inch, you place your tape rule starting from 6 inch, then you go ahead to draw the armhole depth line like you see me doing in the video. So this is going to be serving as the chest line. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my bust circumference measurement on the chest line. So I'll insert my bust measurement divided by 4 and mark, after which I'll mark 1.5 inch for the sewing allowance. Then I'll move over to the waist and insert my waist measurement divided by 4 and mark. After marking that, I'll go ahead to mark 1 inch for the waist dart and 1.5 inch for my sewing allowance. After doing that, I'll connect the sides together with a straight line, after which I'll go ahead to draw the armhole for the back. So next I'll go ahead to draw the dart for the back, and in doing that I'll mark half of my bust span measurement on the waistline and also on the chest line, after which I'll connect the 2 points together with a straight line like this. Next I'll go ahead to take out a dart of 0.5 inch on both sides of the waistline, after which I'll draw the dart with my ruler like you see me doing in the video. So this is what the back block is going to look like. So I'm just going to go ahead to draw a simple curve on the neckline of the back, so you can draw whatever design you want on the back block of your dress. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to eliminate zipper bulge on the dress, because if you should leave it straight like this, when the dress is being worn, the zipper is going to bulge on the back of the dress. So first I'll go ahead to extend the waistline like this. After extending the waistline, I'll be going in from the center back by 0.5 inch, and from this point I'll also be going in by 0.5 inch. After doing that, I'll connect both points to the chest line with a straight line like this. So this is going to be the new zipper allowance for the dress we are going to be making. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut it out. So you can decide to close up the darts and you can decide to leave it the way it is. But for this tutorial, I'll leave it the way it is. So I'll just go ahead to cut it out like you see me doing in the video. So after cutting, this is what the back block of the dress is going to look like. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out my fabric using this pattern I have here. So I went ahead to cut out my fabric, and while cutting I cut the center front unfold and I marked a seam allowance of 0.5 inch all the way around. For the side I marked my allowance on this part you see me touching, but there is no allowance on the side block of the front of the off shoulder dress. Here I have the back. For the back I marked my allowance on the neckline and also on the waistline, but there is no allowance on the center back and also on the side of the back. The next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to pad the front block of the off shoulder dress with this medium size wadding. So after padding the front block of the off shoulder dress, this is what it is going to look like once you're done padding it. And when attaching your wadding to the dress, make sure the wadding stops on the underbust area, and also you come down by 1 inch from the neckline of the dress you are making. So the next I'm going to go ahead to quickly do now is to join the center to the side. So I'll place it like this, making sure the good face are facing each other, after which I'll go ahead to stitch it. I'll repeat the same thing on the other side and also on the lining piece of the front block. So for the back, what I'll go ahead to do for the back is to sew in my dart on the back block. So I'll be sewing it on my fabric separately, and I'll repeat the same thing on the lining piece. So I'll go back to my sewing machine and stitch the dart on the wrong side of the blouse. I'll go ahead to do this, then I'll come back to show you what to do next. So after I was done joining the center to the side, this is what I had once I was done doing that, and this is what the bustier area looked like. I also went ahead to open up the seam, give it a good press, and this is what I had once I was done joining the center to the side. For the lining piece, I went ahead to repeat the same thing for the lining piece, and this is what the lining piece looked like. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the lining piece to my main fabric. But before doing that, I'm going to be attaching my strip to it. So I've gone ahead to make the strip. When making the strip, all you need is a long piece of fabric like this, and the width of the fabric should be 2.5 inch. Then you go ahead to fold it into two and sew it using 0.25 all the way down, after which you turn it over to the good face, give it a good press, and you will end up with this strip, and the width of this one here is 1 inch. So I'm going to be attaching this strip to the blouse. So before attaching it, I'm going to go ahead to measure the length. Remember I came down by 5.5 inch while I was drafting the off shoulder blouse, so I'm going to go ahead to cut out times 2 of that, which is 11 inch, and I'll be adding 1 inch extra for my sewing allowance. So the length of the strip I'll be cutting out is going to be 12 inch. So if you came down by 6 inch, all you need to do is to multiply that 6 inch by 2, then you add your sewing allowance of 1 inch. So for the strip, I'll be placing it at the point where the center meets with the side like this. Then I'll go ahead to pin it down like you see me doing in the video. After pinning it down, I'm going to go ahead to place the other one on this other side too once I make the strip for the other side. Then you place your lining piece on it, making sure the good face of your lining piece is facing the good face of your fabric. After doing that, I'm going to go ahead to close up the neckline and the sides, after which I'll turn it over to the good face and give it a good press. After fixing the strip, this is what the front block of the blouse is going to look like once you're done fixing the strip, and this is what the inner part is going to look like. So this method is going to give you a neat finishing, and as you can see, the bustier area is still coming out fine. Next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the back. So for the back block, I've gone ahead to sew in my dart on both my fabric and my lining piece. I did that separately. So for the back, you're going to go ahead to place the front block on it like this, making sure the good face is facing the good face of the back. Then you go ahead to place your strip on the back like this. So before you go ahead to place the strip on the back, what you go ahead to do is to measure where the strip is on the front like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to measure this point of the front block so that the strip is going to be at the same point with that of the back when I sew it to the back. So you're going to go ahead to take your measurement like this, and whatever you have on the front, you're going to repeat the same same thing on the back like you see me doing in the video. After taking the measurement, I'm going to go ahead to pin the strip on the back like this. So make sure the good face of the front is facing the good face of the back, and make sure that you check the strip well and it is straight so that you don't have one part looking bent. After pinning it down at this point, I'll go ahead to repeat the same thing on the other side also, and I'll pin the strip on it like this. Next, I'm going to go ahead to place my lining piece on it like this, making sure the good face of the lining piece is facing the good face of my fabric and the strip is also in between. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine to close up the neck area, the center back, and also the side, and I'll repeat the same thing for the other side, after which I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after I was done fixing the strip to the back block, this is what it is going to look like once you're done fixing the strip, and this is what the inner part should look like once you're done fixing it, and this is what the other side of the back is going to look like. So it is very simple, and this method is going to give you a neat finishing. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to join the front and the back block together. So I'll place the back on the front like this, making sure the good face are facing each other. Then I'll go over to my sewing machine to close up the sides. So for the sides, I'll not be closing it completely because I'll be attaching the skirt to the down part because it is a gown. So I'll just go ahead to close it up halfway, then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. So after joining the front and the back block together, this is what it is going to look like once you're done joining it. So make sure that what you have on the strip area is what you came down by. So for me, I came down by 5.5 inch while drafting, and what I have here is 5.5 inch. Make sure it is not more than that so you don't have the strip falling off when the dress is being worn. So this is what the upper part of the dress is going to look like. So next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to work on the sleeve of the dress. For the sleeve, I've gone ahead to cut out this piece of fabric that I'll be using for the sleeve of the dress I'm making, and the length of the sleeve depends on how full you want the sleeve to be. For me, I'm working with the length of 45 inch, so if you want yours to be fuller than this, you can simply go ahead to increase the length, because the longer the length, the fuller the puff sleeve. And also I'll be cutting both sleeves together. So the width of the sleeve I'm making is 10 inch. I went ahead to add 2 inch extra for the elastic casing for the upper part and also for the lower part. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to start cutting the sleeve. So first I'll go ahead to fold the sleeve into two like this, like you see me doing in the video. After folding it into two, I'm going to go ahead to come down by 1 inch at the top, which is going to be the elastic casing for the top. So I'll mark the 1 inch all the way like you see me doing in the video. So after marking it, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to draw the armhole. And to draw the armhole, what I'll go ahead to simply do is to trace the armhole on the bodice on the sleeves like you see me doing in the video. So note that this is inclusive of the sewing allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead to trace it like this, after which I'll go ahead to cut it out. So after cutting, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to go over to my sewing machine to create the elastic casing for the sleeve. And in doing that, what I'll go ahead to do is to fold this upper part like you see me doing in the video. So I'm going to go ahead to fold it like this, then I'll stitch all the way. And I'll be repeating the same thing for the lower part too. After doing that, I'm going to come back to show you what to do next. So once I was done creating the elastic casing on the upper part and the lower part, this is what I had once I was done doing that. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to insert my elastic into it. So for the elastic, I'm going to be using this 0.5 inch elastic. Before I go ahead to cut out the elastic I'll be using, we are going to be doing some calculations to know the length of the elastic you will be cutting out. So the formula I use to calculate my off shoulder sleeve is my round shoulder measurement minus the round shoulder measurement on my upper bodice. So my round shoulder measurement is 40 inch minus that of the upper bodice. So for the upper bodice, I'm going to go ahead to measure what I have on the round shoulder of the upper bodice, and when taking that measurement, I'm going to measure from the back to the front and to the back again. And when taking the measurement, you will not be starting from your zipper allowance. So my zipper allowance is 1.25. I'll go ahead to start from that 1.25, then I'll take the measurement all the way down to the other side of the back. After taking the measurement, what I got was 22 inch. So I'm going to go ahead to minus 22 inch from my actual round shoulder measurement, which is 14 inch. And after doing that, what I got was 18 inch. The next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to divide the 18 inch into two, because I'm cutting two sleeves. So I'll go ahead to divide it into two. After dividing it into two, what I got was 9 inch. So if you're not attaching an elastic to your off shoulder sleeves, you can simply go ahead to use this 9 inch. But if you are attaching an elastic to your off shoulder sleeve, you will need to remove something from this 9 inch, because the elastic stretches. Because if you should go ahead to cut your elastic to be 9 inch, it's not going to fit properly because the elastic stretches. So for it to fit properly, you need to remove 3 inch from your actual measurement you got. And also for the lower part, what you go ahead to do is to minus 2 or 3 inch from your round arm measurement to cut the elastic for the lower part of the sleeve. So now I'm going to go ahead to cut 6 inch for the upper part of the sleeve, like you see me doing in the video, and I'll be cutting out two elastic for both sleeve. And for the lower part, my round arm measurement is 12 inch. I'll go ahead to minus 3 inch from the 12 inch, and I'll be cutting out 9 inch for the round arm measurement. So I'm going to go ahead to cut both of them, and I'll fix the elastic on both the upper part of the sleeve and also on the lower part of the sleeve. So after fixing the elastic, the next I'm going to go ahead to do now is to move over to my sewing machine to tack this part where the elastic start from on both the upper part and the lower part of the sleeve. Once I'm done tacking that part, next thing I'll go ahead to do is to join the sides of the sleeve together. So I'm going to go ahead to fold it into two like this, making sure the good face are facing each other. Then I will stitch it. I'll be repeating the same thing for the other sleeve also. So after I was done stitching the sleeve, this is what it is going to look like once you're done stitching the sleeve, and this is what the other part of the sleeve is going to look like. So if you want it to be fuller, you can simply go ahead to increase the length. So next I'll go ahead to attach the sleeve to my main bodice, and to do that, all you need to do is to place the armhole of the sleeve on the armhole of your bodice like this. Then you go ahead to stitch it together. So before you go ahead to start stitching, make sure you check it to see if they align. Then after which you go ahead to stitch. So I'm going to go ahead to quickly do this, then I'll come back to show you what next. So after I was done inserting the puff sleeve, this is what I had once I was done attaching the puff sleeve to the upper bodice. So this is what you are going to have once you're done doing this, and this is what the inner part of the blouse is going to look like. As you can see, it came out really nice and it came out very neat. This is what you should have once you are done fixing the sleeve to the upper bodice. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to attach the skirt to the upper body. So I've gone ahead to cut out this pencil skirt you see here, and this skirt is a dartless pencil skirt. I made a detailed tutorial on how to make this dartless pencil skirt previously, and I used that pattern to cut out the skirt. I'm going to be dropping the link to the tutorial in the comment section and also in the description box, so that you can go ahead to check it out if you don't know how to make a dartless pencil skirt. So make sure that the waist of your upper bodice is same as the waist of your skirt. As you can see, mine is aligning. So what I'll go ahead to quickly do now is to attach the lining piece to the skirt. Then I'll attach the skirt to the upper bodice, after which I'll close up the sides and fix my zipper. So I've already made the skirt tutorial. That is why I'm not repeating it in this video again, so that the video will not be too long. So you can go ahead to check it out. So making your gown this way is going to be very simple. After making the upper bodice, you go ahead to just make the skirt and attach it to it. So I'll go ahead to quickly do all these, then I'll come back to show you the final look of the dress. So here we have the final look of the gown, looking so beautiful and very nice. You can also go ahead to try yours and let me know about the outcome in the comment section. So if you find this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe if you are yet to, and also don't forget to like, comment and share. And you can also watch other detailed tutorial on the channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.